Figure 4 Radio. Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Lock it in. Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Figure 4 Radio.
Hello everyone, welcome to Figure 4 Radio. It's the Mastermind Ollie Spring. Today I'm joined by Luke-O-Mac.
I really wanted to shout cock during the intro.
I could
then
tell.
I was so
I
just
could tell.
cock. But no, hello.
Hey,
hello. I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I think this could be the first kind of sit-down podcast we're doing where I don't have a cold.
Yeah, I
Neither
think
of
we've
us are
both
sounding
been
husky
kind
today.
of, yeah, you know, Husky Harris all the way. We've
This
both
is
been a bit under the weather for ages.
Well, it's been winter, hasn't it? It's been winter.
But it's just been a constant cough and sniffle for all of us.
It has.
So.
But today we're going to talk about, well, we've just fresh off the back of Fastlane, blah blah blah, WrestleMania, blah blah blah, car noises, blah blah blah, Brock, let's not, yeah, all that
Sorry,
shit.
just blah blah blah,
Blah,
car
blah, blah,
noises.
yeah.
Can we get that on a t-shirt?
What, blah blah blah, car noises.
I'd wear that every day.
Oh man. So yeah, we had the main event of Fastlane.
It was.
At the moment, everyone's bitching about it on the internet. I'm angry, but also not angry because I don't know why I didn't expect it.
I expected it, but I was hoping that they weren't going to pull the trigger on it.
It's the hope that they're gonna not do the shit thing, because let's flash back by a couple of years now. CM Punk.
Yep.
I mean, if you've heard his, everyone's heard his podcast. With
the most infamous podcast ever,
Cabana.
Yeah.
In fact, that's the podcast that got me into podcasts.
Oh, there you go.
I had no idea what a podcast was. I listened to it. I was like, these are quite cool.
It's like radio, but short.
Yeah. Although, were we doing podcasts before? I'm not even sure. But either way, that's got me. It got me into other people's podcasts at least. And he was saying how he was pissed off because he jobbed to the Undertaker. And the next day at Raw, Undertaker wasn't there, Punk was, and then he jobbed to The Rock. And the next day, The Rock wasn't there, he was. And then the plan was to job him to somebody else who wasn't going to be there the next day, and he got fed up of jobbing out to these part timers because he's the one there busting his ass on the live scene, on the live tours.
He's on every show,
the house shows.
He's doing the house shows. Yeah, he's doing the rounds,
and
with
he's
a
getting
infection.
And I mean, a lot of the time, I feel the need to remind local guys that are bitching about if they're getting a win or a loss. It doesn't matter. It's fucking wrestling. It's like a pantomime. It's
of course it is. It's not the result.
Yeah, if you take
as long as you're there each week, if
you take a loss, it just means that you're the character in the story that's losing. It doesn't mean you are the worst wrestler out the two. It just means you're taking a loss. It's a fucking story. It's not a sport.
Exactly.
Whereas I guess on a higher level, at the level of the WWE, you can't write off the logic as, you know, as casual fans and stuff. If they're going to be a fan of yours, they're not going to be a fan of yours if you're
not
shit.
But also if you're not around.
True. Well, I guess this is what we're talking about today. So these part-timers.
Yeah.
So have I said that yet? Have I said we're talking about part-timers? I didn't quite build up to that enough.
No, we didn't. But that's the topic. Part-timers for the day.
Part-timers. Brock Lesnar. No, Goldberg, 22 seconds, Kevin Owens. That pisses me off. I liked the fact that Owens stalled so much.
Yeah, but I think, unfortunately, it was that thing of the commentators, like Michael Cole and everyone saying, the bell hasn't rung, and then it was like, gets in the ring, you know.
Literally, bell rings, music hits, pow, done.
Yeah.
Blink and you miss it. I mean, in a way, because when Lesnar and Goldberg had their match at SummerSlam, unfortunately, me and Scott Starspud watching, we could see there was only 3 minutes left, and we were like,
that's what I was like with this.
But I deliberately didn't check how long was left to go, so I could see how I didn't want it surprise, like to spoil the surprise. So if I knew it was going to happen, I'd have probably been pissed off beforehand.
I think it was that thing of like, and it's slightly off topic with part-timers, but that whole entire pay-per-view I thought was just an extended episode of Raw.
Yeah, it was the worst episode of Raw in recent memory.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a pay-per-view, and I actually think having that as a main event didn't help it.
The thing is, in a way, because a lot of there was a part of me thinking, Goldberg's going to go over in another squash match. It's going to be super quick. But then there's always that kind of thought of, wait a second, what if something different happens? I want to see if something different happens.
I get that it added to, 2 stories. So we're now obviously going to have Jericho versus Owens going into Mania.
Yep, probably for the US title.
For the US title, and obviously now the Lesnar Goldberg match is for the Universal title.
So,
and then just it's added depth to a storyline, but like everyone was expecting another part-timer to return. What on earth are you doing?
I'm going to take a selfie and rub it in our friends' faces because they're always taking selfies.
Have you got my good side?
I don't know why we're talking about it on the podcast.
No, but hey, there you go.
But so
like everyone was expecting another part-timer to return. Everyone was thinking Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns
was going to have the
Undertaker's going to come back.
But this is the this is the thing that kind of pisses me off is when people. They come up with a fantasy idea and then they get pissed off when it doesn't happen. It's like nobody.
It's a fantasy for a reason.
Yeah, nobody ever said that the Undertaker was going to be there.
No, that's true.
They were just like, oh, surely he's got to, because they think that Undertaker's going to get this match with one or the other at Mania.
And they did it the next night.
That's it. And it was the same with Samoa Joe at the Rumble. Everyone was like, oh, they're blatantly bringing Joe in. They've got to bring Joe in. And then he didn't. But then it was
the next day.
And people get pissed off when things don't happen, but they were never promised.
That's the thing. Like, it's not even that, but if we're all smarky bastards and we're all just like
bastards,
and we're all like, oh, this is going to happen, and it actually happened, we're then watching a pay-per-view or we know the outcome straight away, or we're watching a TV show where we actually don't need to watch it because we know what's happening. So actually them doing stuff like that just makes us watch it more because we want to see when it is going to happen.
That's it.
Now with it's weird because like I was thinking about all of the part-timers that have been and gone and stuff, and actually I can't think massively of many. The one that really sticks in my mind is The Rock. Now the last couple of times he's come back, he hasn't wrestled, because I'm not counting that match against Eric Rowan as a match. That was a 30-minute promo with a rock bottom at the end, and that was it. That was all it was.
No, in a way, I guess I'm okay with Rock coming back for promos at WrestleMania to kill time or pad it out or whatever, or advertise
I'm
there.
not.
But as far as actually no, because actually to be honest,
the last one was awful.
The last 2 years actually that he's come back for his promos, I've literally got bored during them. I was just like, shut the fuck up, do a wrestle.
Everyone was like,
show us your graps.
Show us your graps. Everyone like. I remember we watched it at MK11 last year, and I say watched loosely. But actually,
through hazy eyes.
But to be honest, I've even rewatched it since, and I still don't remember him coming out with that flamethrower because I get.
Really?
Do you know
That's
why?
all I remember.
Do you know why? Because I get so bored, I walk away from it.
Yeah.
I don't remember him coming out and doing it because I'm really not interested in it.
I mean, it fires the crowd when his music hits. The crowd get fired up. But you've got to do something to keep that fire going. Otherwise, it's just blah 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 blah. Venue name, blah blah blah. State name, blah blah blah. City name, sports teams, celebrities from this area, blah blah. No, it's not entertaining.
I think it's that thing though. Is I suppose the main point of today is, are part-timers good or bad? Where do they sit within the company? That kind of thing.
So, as I say, let's rewind a bit to when CM Punk was losing territory and he was pissed off.
Yes,
that was a long time ago, and it almost seems like we've got out of that thing. I mean, Lesnar was around, but he wasn't holding the belt. It was him and Undertaker. Well, now that was fine because I have nothing against part-time wrestlers coming in for the big shows, like Undertaker and Lesnar for their series of matches.
I don't think we see the Undertaker as a part-timer, even though he is. We all seem to think that all he has to do is turn up for one match a year.
That's what.
That's right, because he's only there for Mania, and everything else is just a bonus. But I think as a fan, we don't think he's a part timer. We think he's a guy that's been there for 25 years.
Yeah, he never. We just don't think he leaves.
Yeah, he just he's always in the back somewhere.
I'm going to say when Undertaker isn't in the ring, he's probably hiding under it, sleeping and waiting for WrestleMania.
He's always there.
He's wheeled in with the rest of the crew, the scenery.
Yeah.
But see, I have absolutely zero, because in a way I'm still kind of in the back of my mind, I'm building up my argument, and I still don't know if I'm fully for or fully against it, and I'll give you some other reasons in a while. But yeah, when Lesnar Undertaker was fine, because there was no belt on the line. It was just you get to see this guy against this guy. Go
and
back
I
to
suppose-
WrestleMania a few years ago. Triple H and Undertaker Hell in a Cell with Shawn Michaels there.
Yeah.
Again, you want to watch it, but nothing is on the line as far as titles go. It really pisses me
At
off.
that point, was Sean retired?
Yes,
because it was
he
the
was
year
the guest
before,
ref.
wasn't it? Yeah, the year before Taker retired him, was it?
At least maybe
I think it was
3
the
or
year.
4 more, to be honest, I think.
Okay, because I thought it was 25, 26. Anyway, beyond the point. But yeah.
So I don't mind the big guys coming back for matches, just matches. Just to
that's
get in there,
fine.
get a paycheck, sell tickets. It does piss me off when
It
you
works.
put the belt. I think... keep in mind that the WWE, whether you like it or not, is the biggest wrestling company in the world, on this planet.
Yep.
And whoever owns the belt on Raw is therefore the
Face,
biggest,
the
best,
guy.
the face of wrestling.
Yeah, essentially.
The face. And I'm sorry, Goldberg isn't the face of wrestling.
I think is like you can
he's
go
wrestled,
back.
He's wrestled less than 100 seconds of singles.
I think it was 108,
matches.
wasn't
Was
it?
it 108?
108,
Okay.
I think.
So we had 30.
So there's still less than 2 minutes of
That's
wrestling.
it. He's had less than 2 minutes of singles action since he's made. Well, in the past decade, yet he is the champion
The
of
face.
the world.
I think it's
right
that thing
now.
as well. Like
just,
you
just,
can go.
just put that. Just let that rest for a second. Like
I'd rather not.
less than 2 minutes of wrestling. He is the biggest champion ever right now.
I think it's like
He's
you
the
can go
guy.
back. You can go back a little further to when Brock had the title last time, and there's that stipulation which I don't know if it's written in their contract or if it's just something WWE say where they say the belt has to be defended.
That's another
every
thing.
28 days. And
Yeah.
there was at one point, I think it was in the build up to Mania, and it was I think it might have been not last year's 31's Fastlane or Elimination Chamber or whatever match they had before their pay-per-view beforehand, and Lesnar wasn't on it.
Yeah.
And we got that stupid.
Well, he defended it like 3 times in the space of 8 months or something like that.
Yeah.
And that makes a mock, and that just kind of proves that it's all fake. If you ask me, like
exactly.
There's no way to get out of it.
Yeah.
If you it's always been historically, if you're the champion, you have to defend it at least once. It's a solid storyline. It is
like the whole Goldberg thing, like jumping forward to today.
Yeah.
The whole Goldberg thing is essentially 2 part-timers fighting for a title at the biggest show of the year, where afterwards one of them's going to disappear and
both
the
of
other
them
one
are going to disappear.
Well, yeah, one of them's going to probably be on Raw.
Are we going to get a contractual rematch the next night on Raw between Goldberg and Lesnar?
No.
Probably not.
No, Goldberg's going to be in a hospital somewhere with some kind of concussion. He took his first bump this week in like a decade, and just getting up from that F5, he looked blown out.
Yeah.
He looked like he couldn't do any more. So how the fuck he's going to do an actual match? I apologise, that was my phone. How he's going to actually do an actual
forfeit of
match?
some sort.
How he's going to do an actual match at WrestleMania that goes beyond 2 minutes is beyond me.
In a way, this is why in a way it's intriguing. But I wanted to see the match between the two, but not for the fucking title.
I don't even think I wanted to see it at Mania.
No, I did. Just because. Well. And again, this is the thing, like, right now that Goldberg has to literally that Lesnar has to kill Goldberg in this match. Because he lost in however many seconds, he got eliminated by him at the Rumble. He has got to physically rip his head from his body in this match, because otherwise, what was the point?
The only thing I can think of that would make that match go any further than 2-3 minutes is if they do like a street fight or no DQ,
well,
and they end up hitting each other with chairs and padding out time with that.
It needs all the bells and whistles that Triple H and Sting had. Because everyone,
farcical, wasn't it?
But the thing is, it was brilliant though. It was and this is the thing, like Triple H and Sting. I guess another part-time rematch.
Yeah.
Again, not for a title. It was just a spectacle. That's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
It needs to be an exhibition, and that match was brilliant because nobody expected a 5-star indie wrestling classic match out
I guess
of them.
not.
They knew that Sting was slow and a little bit beat up and a little bit, old, yeah. And Triple H, isn't the one to carry into match. So you knew they was going to have to rely on smoke and mirrors, as it were. So that's why it was amazing when DX came out. That's why it was amazing when NWO came out. And I don't care that they shook hands afterwards. I don't care because it was a fucking spectacle.
Yeah, I guess so.
It was a match that nothing else was on the line. You just got to see Triple H and Sting in a match.
No, that's fair enough.
That's
and
all
to
it
be
needed
fair,
to be.
like, to be fair, like, we're talking about part-timers, and I think Triple H actually plays his part-time role really well because he's still an on-screen personality.
I wouldn't put him down as a part-timer because, like I say, he is still there a lot of the time.
I think more recently...
And you know that he's putting the hours in with NXT and
more
everything.
recently, he's disappeared from WWE. Well, not from... Okay, from Raw, he's disappeared.
Okay.
Since the brand split, he's not been there massively.
I did see his promo on Raw when Samoa Joe made his debut.
Yeah.
I thought that promo was fucking immense.
I was going to say, like,
I was on the edge of my phone screen for that.
Yeah, on the edge of the toilet seat.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, he's not really been there since SummerSlam. Like, he's back now because he's doing that thing with Seth and Joe.
I really hope that happens. And again, another part-timer in a way against Rollins.
Yeah.
But again, it's not for a title, but it's a match you want to see because it's it's a good thing. And Rollins is obviously going to learn a lot in this match. And this is the thing with, like, Owens could have learned a lot from a Goldberg match, but he got squashed in 22 seconds.
I don't think he would have learned anything from Goldberg except
maybe Goldberg could have learned from Owens maybe.
Yeah.
But
I just think it's that thing of, like, with the part-timers, the storylines are either really good or really crap. There's never really kind of much in between. So you
There's
look
no
at
shades of grey.
Yeah, you look at last year where Triple H was the champion, again, part-time. Like, he wrestled from Royal Rumble onwards.
The thing that pissed me off there was
and it was
you knew
just to
that
get Reigns over.
You knew that Roman was going over in that match. And in a way, you kind of just know that Lesnar's going over in the Mania match. And that's the thing. You know it's going to happen. So it's just a case of... It's not a case of what's going to happen, but how is it going to happen? How is Goldberg?
Yeah.
In a way... But and I think we'll talk about this next week when we talk about main events.
Yep.
Lesnar and Reigns. Everybody knew that Reigns was going to win because it's fucking Roman Reigns and they're pushing him to the moon.
Yeah.
So when it didn't happen, and that's the thing, everyone still watched because they just wanted to see Lesnar kick the shit out of Reigns, but then eventually lose.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, yes, that was at the point where Reigns was being rammed down our throats.
Yep.
But rewatching that match, they put on a pretty good performance.
It was the best.
It was pretty good, actually.
I recently rewatched that whole WrestleMania, mainly just to get to that final match.
The laughing when he first hits him. It's
the fact that Reigns took some stiff shots and still carried on, and Lesnar got beat up.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was the best Roman Reigns match I think I've ever seen.
I don't know. Like, actually, I know we bitched about Fastlane earlier. Him and Strowman, that was I thought that was really good.
It was good. I don't think it was a WrestleMania main event, but
no, it wasn't a WrestleMania main event. But as far as Roman goes, that was good.
Anyway, so the argument with part-timers, and actually as well, I want to also bring in
outside talent.
Yeah, so for WWE, the part-timers, for the indie scene, and I guess more the UK scene, I want to talk about the imports as well.
Yeah.
Now, I get that the part-timers and the imports have a place, because I'll tell you how. When I wasn't into wrestling for a long time, and it was probably the period where it started getting good again. What got me back into wrestling? There's a story about me discovering TNA while I was sleeping on a sofa, and when I met Scott Starsbud for the first time. But then what dragged me back into the WWE was The Rock and John Cena and their feud, because I knew about The Rock and I was aware of John Cena. I was like, okay, Rock's gonna be wrestling again. This is interesting. And their feud went over a year. It spanned for more than it was. I can't remember which WrestleMania.
I think it was 28. Was that the second one?
Was it 27? So it was
27,
it started
28,
before the one where Cena and The Miz headlined. Because The Rock was the host, and The Rock cost John Cena the main event. And that was so their main event started before. I think was it 28 and was it 27 and then 28 they had their.
I think 28 was the last one, so it must have been 27, 28 because they were
so then in that case, so that build-up spanned from 26 to 27. Well, pre 26 to the main event of 27, and then obviously further on. So that got me back into it, and obviously it wasn't the undercard guys that got me back into it. It wasn't those guys. It was The Rock and John Cena that got me back in, and then I started to learn more about everybody else. I can't for the life of me think about the card that was the rest of the card on that night, but I was there for John Cena and The Rock. Yeah,
fair enough.
And the same locally. The first local show I ever went to, or indie show in the UK, was a Southside show. And the only reason I went is because they had Kaz and Daniels from TNA on. And I was like, holy shit, I want to go see these guys. In the first match of that night, There was a 6-way match for the Speed King Championship.
Oh, wow.
The champion at the time just so happened to be Will Ospreay.
Oh, wow.
And we're looking, I think they've just had their 6th anniversary show, or maybe 7th.
Yeah.
Or maybe even 8th.
Okay.
So we're going back
Good couple of years.
2 to 4 years. So before Will Ospreay blew up, he was
Yeah.
on that show. People like El Ligero, a guy called Robbie X I'd never heard of before and fell in love with after I saw him. And then there was people like Styx, there was Joseph Connors and Paul Malin. So I was drawn in by these two names because I was a massive fan of them on the telly.
Yeah.
But then they kind of got me on board, and the local guys, I was like, holy shit, this Ospreay kid, he's got some in. And yeah, this guy's really
Who would
good.
have thought?
I even remember Ryan Smile standing out in the Rumble. I told him that once at a Southside show a year or so later, and he did not let that go for a long time. He was like a dog with a bone.
Fair enough.
I understand that they are a major part. They can be a draw, as it were. Because the recent Hope show at Jury's Inn, Pete Dunne was there, and I've never seen the place so full, and I don't think it would have been that full if Pete Dunne wasn't there.
No, that's true. But I think, we also went to a show recently, the WCPW show.
Yep.
And that is pretty much built with import talent.
Yes.
The amount of people that are on that roster that are imports.
What did you think of that show?
I think if it was you were just going into it as a one-off, and it was just a spectacle for wrestling, I thought it was really good.
I'm not even sure about that.
No?
I felt really disappointed by it.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it was cool to see Kurt Angle. Yeah, it was cool to see Del Rio and Ospreay and Ricochet.
Yeah.
But I really didn't.
But then I guess it's that thing of like, I think this is where me and you differ slightly, is do you watch the rest of it on YouTube? Do you watch like... No. See, that's where I do.
Yeah.
So like, I'm kind of slightly more invested in what's happening.
Okay. So what?
Than
okay. Let's talk briefly about what was happening pre True Destiny.
Oh Christ, this is like a month ago.
Yeah. Because I know obviously Rampage and Primate.
Yeah.
And I think they were even I flicked through onto YouTube the other night when their Exit Wounds show. So I think I saw another part. I didn't really pay any attention to it.
Okay, so they were in the best of 7.
Okay.
A bit like Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yeah.
So that was going on. So that match was essentially part of that. I'm trying to think what else we actually saw. So the tag titles, which were up, which was won by Will Ospreay and...
Scotty Essex.
Yes, it was. Yeah, thank you.
Swords of Essex. Or no, Scotty, he's got something else, hasn't he? But yeah.
Yeah,
but that
you
guy.
know who it was.
That guy.
That was actually kind of like the first time they'd done an open thing for the tag titles. So before that, it was just a bit back and forth. It's weird because if you don't watch it, like every week, obviously they have different talent in.
And I guess this is the thing, because I saw it was Marty Scurll and David Starr.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, and I guess it's really hard to build storylines when you're constantly booking import talent, because unless you book them for a string of shows, you can't tell a story.
Well, it's weird because I think their internet champion is Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
So obviously, as he's currently over in Ring of Honor and doing bits in
you can't tell. Like, what's the point?
It's hard to do it.
In having there you go. What's the point in giving him a belt when he's not going to be back for a few months?
You could say the same about Ospreay. Like, why would he have the tag belt if he's then going to go to Ring of Honor and New Japan and do stuff like that? But then I think it's a reason to bring them back.
True.
So they are kind of building themselves as a pretty big promotion. Like, they've got, I think it's like nearly 1 million or just over 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Okay, I'm one of them.
Same, yeah. So they've got like nearly over 1 million people on YouTube that go and watch this stuff. They're obviously selling out the arenas and the places that they go to for the talent to come in. So there's obviously the money there. So
true.
I think.
Although I did hear an interesting fact on how much money they lost at the True Destiny event. I think it was somewhere in the region of £120,000.
Ow!
I heard that
come?
I heard that Kurt Angle cost about 40k to bring in. Yeah.
Ouch. How much did Del Rio cost?
I didn't hear that much, but apparently what they do is they put all this money into the shows and they recuperate through YouTube.
Yeah.
I have no idea how you recuperate £120,000 on YouTube from advertising, but
I've looked into like how you make money on YouTube, and I'm still none the wiser. I've got no idea.
Just like, fucking book Will Ospreay a lot, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, so and I guess in a way this is the thing. So it's hard to build, and I guess it depends what you watch wrestling for. Again, because I watch wrestling, I like storylines. I like to feel invested in what's happening. I like to feel like it matters. And when you've just got two guys that are wrestling because the internet wants to see it happen, or because we're going to give this guy the belt because he's the hottest indie guy in the world right now, and he might not be back for a few months, but we'll give it to him anyway. It's hard for me to get invested. It's hard for me to care.
Yeah, I guess so. I think it's one of those things, isn't it? You're either going to watch the whole entire thing, so you're either going to be someone that watches TNA every week, or watches WWE every week, or watches WCPW every week, or Ring of Honor, or New Japan. So you're going to be someone that watches this every week, or because we're internet smarky bastards, we're just going to go onto YouTube and see the little clips of it, and then we're just going to dip in and out, and that's why we're not being held by it.
I'm definitely a dipper at the moment, which I don't like, but it's just I just don't seem to have the time.
I think if it's done, I think it's done correctly. To be honest, I've never seen that many people in Milton Keynes want to go and watch a wrestling show before.
Okay.
We could see Hope and we saw the people coming, but that was probably the biggest packed show that we've seen in Milton Keynes.
True, and I guess as well that a lot of people.
And it is the names that come in, so it is the Kurt Angles and the Del Rios and the Ospreys.
That's
bring
true.
them in.
It's true. I mean, I think you would never struggle to sell tickets when you got those people in.
Oh no, of course not.
But in a way, it does kind of. Because one of my criticisms of Southside was that every import match that I saw on that show. Yeah. So there was they had Chavo Guerrero. I think he was up against Styx. They had what was his name? Chris Masters.
All right, okay.
He was up against Martin Stone, who is in NXT as what's his name? Don't know. Is it Martin Stone again? I can't remember. He was in the UK tournament. He was the guy that had his head bust open and had a really dodgy finish in the match against Jordan Devlin. Can't remember his name.
Not can I?
But that guy.
Yeah. Baldy.
Yeah, Baldy. They had who else? They had that. They had him. They had they had Kazarian and Daniels against.
Yep.
It was just a random. It was just a tag team, I think. It was meant to be Kirby and Chris Travis, but Chris Travis at that point was ill and had to cancel, so it was Kirby and somebody else, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
But every single import match went exactly the same. The bad guy stalled and made fun of him and mocked his moves, and the import went over every single time.
Fair enough.
But then before
and
we
I'm
went
assuming
on air,
the local guy was the heel.
Well, it was there was Styx, there was Martin Stone, and there was and that's it. They were all the same, even though Kaz and Daniels have been often quite heelish.
Yeah.
I suppose Styx and Martin Stone were pretty kind of heels. But then you were saying earlier about when Hope brings some of the big guys in, it's always the younger talent. So we've seen El Jeff has currently beaten former Progress champion William Eva.
Yeah.
He defended his Division A championship against former Progress champion Jimmy Havoc in a four-way street fight.
That man scares me.
It was fucking horrible. It was terrifying. But El Jeff's been wrestling for a year, and he's already beaten two
big names
former Progress wrestling champions. Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jeff is a fucking legend of a guy.
My name's Jeff.
His weight loss over the Christmas period this year is nothing short of heroic.
Weight loss over Christmas. Did he not eat?
That's it. This is my point. I saw him a few months before Christmas. He was a bit of a chubby guy, and then I saw him. It was either just before Christmas or just after, and he was like, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Where's Jeff? His dedication to getting in shape to be for wrestling is second to none. Absolutely heroic. But at the same time, it is a bit odd that this guy that's been wrestling like a year or so, maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years, has beaten Jimmy Havoc and Pastor William Eva. It's a bit weird. So it's.
But then I suppose that's. Would you class that as an import? Is that not just promotional, cross-promotional? I guess in a way, it's the
more over, because I guess in Hope Wrestling at least. Someone, but then I guess at the same time they had Will Ospreay against Jay Garner, best fucking match I've ever commentated on. The right man won, Ospreay won in that match.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I guess it's just going with the logical right guy.
I think if you book it right, and I think this goes back to not just part timers and not just imports, but booking in general. If something is booked right, then that's it. Like there's no replacement for it. And
so let's jump back to the very beginning. Was Owens and Goldberg booked right?
No.
So how? Because this is the thing. Because I didn't want Kevin Owens to lose the belt. Because I'm a mark in that respect. I was gutted because I like Kevin Owens and I wanted him to retain.
You have Goldberg win, but via disqualification. So
actually, yes. So
what should have happened is you do the build up as it was. Jericho's music hits. Owens turns to the ramp to look at Jericho, who isn't there. He comes from the crowd, turns around, code breaker, then leaves. Goldberg gets disqualified because the bell's already rung at this point.
Okay.
The bell would have rung.
Would you have been happy with that with a DQ main event?
I would have got better. I would have been more like I cannot describe to you my feeling of hatred towards the end of that. But it really wound me up.
From what I gather as well, the following night in Chicago at Raw, Lesnar wasn't really. No, sorry, I keep saying Lesnar. Okay, this is the thing. I'm just not used to saying the word Goldberg because he's not fucking around. Goldberg apparently got quite a lot of boos.
I think
he wasn't cheered as a.
I think people have actually just figured out that. I think I referred to it as the Donald Trump syndrome, where everyone in America was like, oh yeah, we're going to vote for Trump because what he's going to do is great, and right, and then he became president, and now everyone's like, oh, we're marching against him because he's a dick.
They realised he was a dick.
And now I think that Goldberg has the title. Everyone's like, oh, we wanted this, but now we realise we don't. Yeah,
we cheered for him, but we really don't want this.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is, and I think it's that thing of like
that's a good way of putting it, I guess, because maybe Vince is kind of misinterpreting. Oh, they're cheering for him. Let's give him the title. No, Vince, no, stop being a fucking idiot. Don't give him the title. Just as I say, just put him in a storyline. Put him in a big match. Fuck it, put it in the main event.
You can think they still would have main evented without the title or not.
That's it, and they didn't need it. Whereas, could you imagine? Okay, what sort of gravitas would Owens and Jericho have for the US title? Then think about what sort of importance it would have Owens versus Jericho for the Universal title.
I'd much see it for the Universal.
That's it.
So much more.
It would have been, but now, who cares? Like, does Kevin Owens really want to be the US champion? He's just lost the fucking Universal title. Does he really want to be US?
He's still essentially going to have a rematch clause, right?
He should have, but what's the bet? And he never gets it. Well, or he doesn't get it until
after Mania.
Yeah.
So
he's
once
not going to get
Goldberg's
anytime
been
soon.
jobbed out and it's Lesnar.
Yeah.
But then, to be fair, Lesnar Owens, I'd like to see.
What do you think is going to happen with the main event this year? Because, as I say, I think it's logical. Well, I think that now it's so obvious they might as well put it on the fucking billboard. Lesnar's going over.
I think that's the only way you could
put it.
By
the way, spoiler alert, as if you needed to ask. Of course, Goldberg's going to drop it and never appear, never be seen again.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Or is there a possibility that Goldberg could retain and stay around for a while?
I doubt it. I think his whole thing was he came back for one last run. For the title.
Should have been one last fucking match.
It should have been one last match. I think that's the thing. He's coming for one last title, and that's it.
Do you think this was the plan all along, though? Because, like in a way, with Shane McMahon losing.
I think it would have been different. Obviously, had Balor not got injured, I think it would have gone slightly differently.
So you'd have thought maybe Balor and someone in the main event?
No, I think had Balor not obviously given the title up at SummerSlam or just after SummerSlam because of Seth, we would have then had Seth versus Balor probably up until Survivor Series, where I think Balor probably still would have kept it. And then I think he probably would have started feuding with someone like KO. Yeah. So I think they probably would have built KO and Balor for that match, leaving Lesnar and Goldberg just as a big event.
Because I think they don't need. I don't want them to be fighting for the title because it makes no sense.
It's just, it's that big. It is that thing of Vince likes big sweaty men.
Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men.
That's it. That's what it is.
King Ross, you legend.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's just, until Vince finally hangs up the old, I suppose he doesn't wrestle anymore. He hung his wrestling boots up years ago.
Handles over control of the company. Yeah.
Then that's what we're going to be stuck with.
I think so. So I guess then in reflection, we could say that the part-timers are good if they're booked right, and same for local scene.
Yeah, I think if the booking's done right, if the booking's done right, then there's definitely money to be made. Like, you know, okay, yeah, you said WCBW lost money, but they're probably still making a shit ton more money than we are.
Make money with the YouTube stuff.
Yeah, and you know, they're still putting on shows and stuff. So, if it's booked right, then not a problem. Like you said, it's when they get thrust into that main event picture, and then they're both going to fuck off. Like, you look at the last time Goldberg and Lesnar had a main event, they were both leaving.
Yeah. So, and it's just the same. It's the fucking same again. It's the same again.
It's 13 years later, and it's the exact same situation.
And I bet you everyone's gonna cheer it and eat it up like dirty marky bastards.
Yeah, of course we are.
Yeah, bastards. So there we go. We're sitting on the fence. Who'd have thought that?
No one.
Luke, what's our social media stuff?
We are on Twitter and Instagram at Figure4 Radio. You
can also follow me on Twitter.
Oh yeah, the Mastermind's got his own
F4R _Mastermind.
Yeah, check you out.
Hey. Look at me being the right Twitter.
You are a twit.
I am.
We are on Facebook, facebook.com/Figure4 Radio. I'm trying to think where else we are. We are
YouTube.com/F4TV.
Yeah, that's right.
We put our archives on there. We need to really start. Because
we should plug that more.
YouTube, you can openly see how many views you're getting, and we're having fuck all on there. We need to push that like a motherfucker right now.
Let's get that out there.
It's abysmal. So yeah, go to YouTube. Type in Figure4 Radio or F4TV. I think it is youtube.com/F4TV.
It's /F4TV.
We have got a shit ton of archive podcasts on there now.
You can also find the archive podcasts on Podomatic, Stitcher.
True, but we're taking them off of that slowly to make room for these new ones.
We are indeed.
So the old ones are now going on YouTube.
iTunes, we're still available on
Stitcher,
iTunes.
Podomatic.
Oh, you name it, it's everywhere.
Mixcloud, TuneIn Radio app. Yeah. Just get on there, subscribe. Let's get some fucking reviews. Go on there and leave a review.
Of podcasts, we got everywhere.
We are we are like chlamydia. Go on there, leave reviews and comments and stuff, because interaction is good. We like to hear that.
Just
stuff.
Go on Facebook and abuse Kai.
That's all we want you to do. Fuck it. Yeah, let's do that. Hashtag abuse Kai.
Hashtag abuse Kai.
He lost his streak at the quiz. Was it you or Scott that won by a point?
I won by a point, so I am the number one contender apparently.
No, you're the champion. You're the fucking champion, because the number one, the champion didn't turn up. He didn't defend his title within 30 days. We ain't having a fucking part-timer, Kai, thinking he can swan in every few months and defend his title. He fucking lost. We're stripping him of that. You are now the champione.
Yes. Who do I have to defend this to now?
Well, it depends when we get a quiz. If we get another one from Exposure, then I'll take you on, and probably Scott will jump in, and Kai will probably mysteriously pop up, knowing him.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe Kayla will get involved as well.
I really thought we were going to lose to her the other week.
That would have been. I'd have married her on the spot. I wouldn't have waited until 2020. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for tuning in this week. I have been the Mastermind Ollie Spring.
I've been Luke-O-Mac,
and we will see you next week, where we will be talking about WrestleMania main events. So look forward to that one. But until then, we'll see you next time on Figure4 Radio.
Figure4 Radio.